The wedding photographer's revenge. The shocking betrayal. The message that changed everything. Welcome to Crownfire Tales. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The phone vibrated against my thigh during the ceremony. I should have ignored it. I was working, after all, capturing the most important day of someone's life through my camera lens. But something made me glance down at the screen, and in that split second, my entire world shattered into pieces so small I'd never be able to put them back together. The text was from an unknown number. Ask your fiancé where he was last Tuesday night. Better yet, check his deleted photos. Password is your anniversary. You deserve to know the truth. My hands trembled as I lifted my camera, mechanically clicking through the rest of the ceremony. The bride's tears of joy. The groom's loving gaze. The applause as they kissed. Every moment I captured felt like a knife twisting deeper into my chest because I knew. Somehow, I already knew. The perfect lie. My name is Maya Torres, and 3 months ago, I thought I had everything figured out. At 28, I'd built a successful wedding photography business in Seattle, capturing love stories while building my own. Or so I believed. Nathan Cross had been my world for 2 years. Charming, successful, with dark hair that fell perfectly across his forehead and a smile that made my stomach flip every single time. He worked in corporate finance, traveled frequently for business, and proposed to me on a beach in Maui with a ring that cost more than my first car. I'd said yes without hesitation. Now, sitting in my car outside the reception venue, I stared at his phone, the one he'd left charging on my desk that morning, telling me his battery died and he'd grab it after work. The one I'd grabbed by mistake, thinking it was mine. My fingers shook as I typed in our anniversary, 0-8-1-4. The phone unlocked. The evidence. The deleted photos folder opened like Pandora's box. My vision blurred as I scrolled through image after image. Nathan with another woman. Not just any woman, Vanessa Clark, my childhood best friend, the maid of honor at our upcoming wedding. They weren't just together. They were intimate, passionate, completely entangled in ways that made me physically sick. The timestamps made it worse. Last Tuesday. Last month. 6 months ago. Some dated back to before Nathan and I even got engaged. My chest constricted. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Then I saw it, a video. Against every instinct, I pressed play. Nathan's voice came through the speaker. When are you telling her? Vanessa's laugh, light and careless. Why would I tell her? This arrangement works perfectly. You get your nice, stable fiancé who makes you look good to your family, and I get you when it actually matters. Besides, Maya's so trusting. So naive. She'll never suspect a thing. She's a good person, Van. Sometimes I feel. What? Guilty? Vanessa's mocking tone cut through. Please. She's boring, Nathan. Sweet, but boring. You said it yourself, she's the kind of woman you marry, not the kind you're passionate about. That's me. Nathan's response was a kiss. A deep, hungry kiss that told me everything I needed to know about where his true feelings lay. I sat in that car for an hour, watching my life collapse. Every memory now felt contaminated. Every moment we'd shared was built on lies. The late-night business trips. The times he'd cancelled plans. The way he'd insisted Vanessa be my maid of honor despite my hesitation. It all made horrible, perfect sense. The performance begins. I dried my eyes, fixed my makeup, and walked back into that reception with my camera and a smile. The couple had paid me to capture their joy, and I would deliver. But something had shifted inside me. The Maya who walked into that venue wasn't the same woman who'd walked out. She was someone new. Someone harder. Someone who understood that being good and trusting only made you pray. I photographed the first dance, the cake cutting, the bouquet toss. And with every click of my shutter, a plan began forming in my mind. Nathan and Vanessa thought I was naive? Boring? Someone they could use and discard? They had no idea who they were dealing with. The dinner that changed everything. That night, I went home and cooked Nathan's favorite meal, seared salmon with asparagus and garlic mashed potatoes. I set the table with candles, put on the dress he loved, and waited. He came home at 8, tired but smiling. God, I'm exhausted. Client meetings all day. He kissed my cheek, and I tasted poison in that casual affection. This looks amazing, babe. I wanted to do something special, I said, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. We haven't had much time together lately. I know. I'm sorry. He sat down, guilt flickering across his features. The same guilt I'd mistaken for stress so many times before. Work's been crazy. Has it? I took a sip of wine, watching him over the rim of my glass. Tell me about it. I want to hear about your day. He launched into a fabricated story about negotiations and conference calls, and I listened with perfect attention, asking questions at all the right moments. Inside, I was cataloging every lie, every easy deception. This man I'd planned to marry was a stranger. A skilled actor playing a role. How was the wedding? He asked eventually. Beautiful. The bride cried, the groom couldn't stop staring at her. Young love. I paused. Made me think about our wedding. 3 months away now. Nathan's expression softened. Can't wait to marry you, Maya. The lie came so easily to him. I was thinking, I continued carefully, maybe we should do something special before the wedding. A couple's retreat? Get away for a weekend, just the two of us? I'd love that, but I have that conference in Portland next weekend, remember? I didn't remember because there was no conference. But I nodded, smiled, and said, of course. The week after, then? Perfect. We ate in comfortable silence, and with every bite, my resolve strengthened. They wanted naive Maya? They'd get naive Maya. Right up until the moment I destroyed them both. The alliance. The next morning, I called my older brother, Marcus. If Nathan was a skilled liar, Marcus was a professional truthfinder. He ran a private investigation firm in downtown Seattle, specializing in corporate espionage and infidelity cases. I need your help, I said without preamble. And I need you to keep this between us. Maya? What's wrong? I told him everything. The text. The photos. The video. When I finished, Marcus was silent for a long moment. I'm going to kill him, he finally said, his voice deadly calm. No. I'm going to do something much worse. I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, barely recognizing the cold determination in my own eyes. I'm going to take everything he values. His reputation, his career, his relationship with Vanessa. I'm going to make him regret ever underestimating me. Maya, you're not. I'm not the same person I was yesterday, Marcus. Yesterday Maya would have cried and confronted them. Today Maya is going to plan. And I need your resources. Another pause. Then, what do you need? Everything. I need to know everywhere he's been, everyone he's talked to, every financial transaction. If he's hiding one affair, he might be hiding more. And Vanessa, I want to know if she's done this before, if there are other friends she's betrayed. Consider it done. Maya? His voice softened. Are you sure about this? Revenge can consume you. I thought about Nathan's kiss on my cheek last night. About Vanessa's mocking laughter in that video. About 2 years of my life built on lies. I'm sure. They made me the villain in their story. Time to show them what a real villain looks like. The discovery. Marcus worked fast. Within 48 hours, I had a file on my desk that made the original betrayal look like a footnote. Nathan wasn't just having an affair with Vanessa. He had a rotation. 3 other women across 6 months, all carefully scheduled around his business trips. He was methodical, careful, treating relationships like business transactions. But the real revelation was financial. Nathan had been embezzling from his company for the past year. Small amounts, cleverly hidden, totaling nearly $300,000. Money he'd been funneling into offshore accounts under Vanessa's name. Vanessa, for her part, had done this before. Twice. She had a pattern of targeting engaged couples, seducing the groom, and either extorting money or simply enjoying the destruction. She'd lost her previous job due to an affair with her married boss. She'd targeted Nathan deliberately, Marcus discovered, after seeing our engagement announcement on social media. I sat with that information for days, feeling it change me. This wasn't just betrayal. It was calculated cruelty. They'd both chosen me as their victim, assuming I'd never fight back. They were wrong. The wedding that wasn't. Our venue was booked. The Fairmont Olympic Hotel, the most prestigious location in Seattle. 200 guests. A dress that cost $8,000. My family had flown in from California. Nathan's corporate colleagues had blocked off the weekend. Everyone was expecting the wedding of the year. They were going to get a show, all right. Just not the one they anticipated. I spent the next month playing the perfect bride-to-be. I confirmed the caterer, finalized the seating chart, had dress fittings with Vanessa by my side. She smiled and hugged me and talked about how happy she was for us while planning to meet Nathan at a hotel that same evening. I knew because Marcus had his phones tapped. His computers monitored. Every text, every call, every secret meeting, I knew about all of it. And I documented everything. The final piece. The breakthrough came 2 weeks before the wedding. Nathan's company was being audited. Standard procedure, Marcus explained, but the timing was perfect. If someone happened to point the auditors in the right direction, they might discover certain financial irregularities. Someone like an anonymous tipster with detailed evidence. I sat in my home office, surrounded by printed photos, financial statements, phone records, and video evidence. 2 years of my life had been a lie, but the next 2 weeks were going to be the truest thing I'd ever done. I picked up my phone and composed a message to Nathan, "Can't wait to marry you. You're going to remember this day for the rest of your life." He responded with a heart emoji. Poor, stupid Nathan. He had no idea how right I was. The invitation. The night before the rehearsal dinner, I sent an email to Nathan's entire family, his corporate board of directors, our mutual friends, and everyone on our wedding guest list. The subject line read, "Change of plans for tomorrow's event." The message was brief. Dear friends and family. Thank you for your continued support and love as Nathan and I prepare to enter this next chapter. However, recent discoveries have led me to make some adjustments to tomorrow's celebration. The venue and time remain the same, but the purpose of our gathering has changed. Instead of a rehearsal dinner, we'll be hosting an evening of truth and revelation. I encourage everyone to attend. You'll want to see this. The ceremony is still scheduled for Saturday at 2 p.m. I promise it will be unforgettable. With love and anticipation. Maya Torres. My finger hovered over the send button for only a moment before I clicked it. There was no going back now. The next morning, my phone exploded with calls and texts. I ignored them all except one, Nathan's panicked message, "Maya, what is that email about? Call me. Now." I replied simply, "See you at the rehearsal. We'll talk then. I have a surprise for you." Red heart. Let him wonder. Let him panic. Let him feel, for one single day, the uncertainty and fear he'd put me through. The game was about to begin, and I held all the cards. Heartbreak and revenge. The rehearsal dinner revelation. The Fairmont ballroom buzzed with confused tension as guests arrived for what they'd thought would be a traditional rehearsal dinner. I stood at the entrance in a simple black dress, not my usual style, but appropriate for what was coming. A funeral for my old life. Nathan arrived with his parents, his face tight with barely concealed panic. Vanessa was beside them, playing the concerned best friend role to perfection, but I caught the flash of worry in her eyes when they met mine. Good. Let them both squirm. Maya, honey, what's going on? Nathan's mother, Patricia, approached me with forced cheerfulness. Your email was rather cryptic. Just wait, Patricia. Everything will make sense soon. I kissed her cheek, savoring the confusion on her face. She'd always looked down on me, never quite believing I was good enough for her precious son. She was about to find out her son wasn't good enough for anyone. The gathering storm. The room filled quickly. Marcus positioned himself by the exits, not to prevent people from leaving, but to ensure everyone stayed long enough to witness what I had planned. My parents sat in the front row, my mother's face etched with concern. I'd told them only that they needed to trust me. Nathan cornered me near the bar. Maya, you're scaring me. What's happening? I looked into his eyes, those dark eyes I'd once found so captivating, and felt absolutely nothing. The love I'd carried for him had been burned away by betrayal, leaving only cold purpose. You'll find out in 5 minutes. Go sit with your family, Nathan. Not until you tell me what. Sit down. My voice carried an edge I'd never used before. Something in my tone made him step back, his confidence wavering. You wanted a show? You're about to get one. He moved toward his family, and I saw him exchange a quick glance with Vanessa. They were worried, but not scared. Not yet. They would be. The truth unveiled. I took the microphone, and the room fell silent. 200 faces turned toward me, expectant and confused. Behind me, a massive screen descended from the ceiling, supposedly for the slideshow of Nathan's and my relationship. I'd spent weeks putting it together, he thought. He was right. But it wasn't the kind of slideshow he'd expected. Thank you all for coming, I began, my voice steady and clear. I know you're confused about why we're gathered here tonight. You were expecting a celebration of love and commitment. Nathan's face paled. In the third row, Vanessa had gone statue still. Instead, I'm going to tell you a story about betrayal, manipulation, and the price of underestimating someone. Patricia stood up. Maya, dear, this isn't appropriate. Sit down, Patricia. My voice cracked like a whip. Or leave. But if you stay, you'll learn exactly who your son really is. She sat. The evidence. 3 weeks ago, I received an anonymous message that changed my life. The screen lit up with the text message. It led me to Nathan's phone, to deleted photos, to videos, to a truth I'd been too naive to see. The first image appeared. Nathan and Vanessa, intimately entwined, unmistakably together. Gasps rippled through the room. Vanessa stood abruptly, her face white. That's not, she started. Sit down, Marcus said from behind her, his voice cold. You'll want to see the rest. More photos cycled through. Different women, different hotels, different cities. Each one time-stamped, each one a nail in Nathan's coffin. His father, Richard, a prominent corporate attorney, sat rigid in his seat, his jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscle jumping. But here's where it gets interesting, I continued, advancing to the next slide. See, an affair is just an affair. Hurtful, yes. Devastating, absolutely. But what Nathan and Vanessa did goes so much deeper. The video began playing. Their voices filled the room. She's so trusting. So naive. She'll never suspect a thing. She's boring, Nathan. She's the kind of woman you marry, not the kind you're passionate about. Every word was a weapon, and I watched them hit their targets. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Nathan's colleagues shifted uncomfortably. Friends I'd known for years looked between Nathan and me with dawning horror. Vanessa tried to run. Marcus blocked the exit. We're not done yet, I said sweetly. The financial crimes. Now, affairs are messy, but they're not illegal. I clicked to the next section. Embezzlement, however, is very illegal. Financial records filled the screen. Bank statements, wire transfers, offshore account numbers, all meticulously documented by Marcus's team and verified by the forensic accountant I'd hired. Over the past 18 months, Nathan has stolen nearly $300,000 from his company. Small amounts, carefully hidden, routed through shell corporations. I looked directly at Richard. All in your specialty area of corporate law, isn't it, Richard? You always said Nathan learned from the best. Richard's face went from red to purple. The money went to offshore accounts under Vanessa's name. Whether she knew about it or not, I shrugged. That's for the authorities to determine. But I've taken the liberty of forwarding all evidence to Nathan's company, the SEC, and the FBI. Nathan finally found his voice. You bitch. You vindictive. Careful, Nathan. Marcus stepped closer. Threats won't help your legal situation. The systematic destruction. But wait, there's more. I smiled, feeling nothing but cold satisfaction. Vanessa, did you want to tell everyone about Mark Harrison? Or Jenny Patterson? Or should I? Vanessa's eyes widened with pure panic. See, this isn't Vanessa's first time destroying an engagement. She has a pattern. 3 previous relationships, all ending in betrayal, all with her as the other woman. More documents appeared on the screen. Her former employer fired her for exactly this behavior. She saw our engagement announcement and targeted Nathan deliberately. I turned to face them both. You called me naive. Boring. Someone who'd never suspect. You built your entire relationship on the assumption that I was too weak, too trusting, too nice to fight back. The silence in the room was absolute. You were wrong. The cost of betrayal. Tomorrow was supposed to be our wedding day, I continued. 200 guests, a $50,000 event, months of planning. Nathan's company had invested time and resources in congratulating their rising star executive. Your families had traveled across the country. I paused, letting the weight of it settle. There will be no wedding. The venue is cancelled. The deposits, all paid from Nathan's accounts, by the way, are non-refundable. Consider it a down payment on what you owe me for 2 years of my life. Patricia stood again. You can't. I can, and I have. Your son lied to me, cheated on me, stole from his company, and plotted with my best friend to make me look foolish. This? I gestured to the room. This is mercy. The personal reckoning. I walked down from the stage, directly toward Nathan. He stood as I approached, his confidence shattered, his face a mask of barely controlled fury. You destroyed me, he hissed. No. I stopped inches from him. You destroyed yourself. I'm just making sure everyone knows it. Maya, please. For the first time, I heard genuine fear in his voice. We can fix this. I can explain. Explain what? That you love me? That it was a mistake? I laughed, and the sound was harsh even to my own ears. Save it for your lawyers. You're going to need really good ones. I turned to Vanessa, who stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. Real tears, maybe, or just another performance. And you. I trusted you with everything. My secrets, my fears, my relationship. You were supposed to be my sister. Maya, don't. I held up my hand. Whatever you're about to say, I don't care. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. The unexpected twist. As I moved to leave, Nathan's father, Richard, stood. The room's attention shifted to him, and I paused, curious despite myself. Maya. His voice was controlled, professional. I won't make excuses for my son's behavior. What he did was unconscionable. Nathan's head whipped around. Dad. Be quiet, Nathan. Richard's tone could have frozen fire. You've said enough. He turned back to me. I've spent 30 years building a reputation in this city. My firm represents Fortune 500 companies, handles billions in assets, employs 200 people. My name means something. I waited, unsure where this was going. And in one evening, my son has potentially destroyed all of it. Richard's jaw tightened. The embezzlement alone could trigger investigations into my firm's other clients. The scrutiny will be intense. That's not my problem, I said quietly. No, it's not. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card. But I'd like to make you an offer. Come to my office Monday morning. 9 a.m. I think we have some common interests. Nathan's face went white. Dad, you can't be serious. You're fired, Richard said flatly. From the family firm, from family dinner, from my life until you fix what you've broken. If you can fix it. He pressed the card into my hand. Monday, Ms. Torres. You've proven yourself to be formidable. I prefer formidable people on my side. With that, he walked out, Patricia scrambling after him. The aftermath. The room erupted. Guests rushed to leave, to whisper, to stare. Some approached to offer support, others looked at me like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. The Maya who'd entered this room didn't exist anymore. Marcus appeared at my elbow. That was quite a show. Is the other part ready? I asked quietly. He nodded. Everything's in place. Nathan's apartment is being cleared as we speak. The restraining order is filed. And the company audit begins Monday morning. Good. Nathan pushed through the crowd toward me, Vanessa trailing behind him. Security, Marcus's people, intercepted them both. You're going to regret this. Nathan shouted. You'll never work in this city again. I have friends, connections. Had, I corrected. Past tense. And I don't need to work in this city. I've been offered a position in New York. Better pay, better clients, better everything. I start next month. It was true. One of the wedding guests, a gallery owner impressed by my photography, had emailed me a job offer that morning after seeing my email. Apparently, someone with the courage to burn her own life down publicly was exactly the kind of person she wanted representing her artists. This isn't over, Vanessa said, her voice shaking with rage. You're a psychopath. No, I said calmly. I'm just not a victim anymore. The man in the shadows. As the room finally cleared, I stood alone in the ballroom, surrounded by the wreckage of my old life. The screen still displayed the final slide, a photo of me, strong and smiling, with text below reading New Beginnings. Impressive. I turned to find a man I didn't recognize standing near the bar. Tall, probably early 40s, with silver threading through his dark hair and eyes that had seen too much. He wore an expensive suit with casual ease and held a glass of whiskey like he owned the place. I'm sorry, who are you? I asked, exhaustion finally starting to set in. Someone who appreciates good revenge. He smiled, but it didn't reach those cold eyes. And someone who might have a proposition for you. I'm not interested in. $20 million, he interrupted. That's what I'm willing to pay for your particular skill set. The number stunned me into silence. See, Ms. Torres, what you did tonight wasn't just revenge. It was strategic warfare. Precise, devastating, and perfectly legal. He set down his glass. I have enemies who need similar treatment. People who've wronged me and believe themselves untouchable. You want to hire me to ruin people's lives? I want to hire you to reveal the truth about people who destroy lives. He pulled out a card, all black, with just a phone number embossed in silver. Think about it. You've already proven you're willing to do what it takes. Why not get paid for it? I should have said no. Should have walked away from whatever dark path he was offering. Instead, I took the card. I'm listening. Not here. Not now. He buttoned his jacket. Call me when you're ready to discuss terms. But Ms. Torres? Don't wait too long. Revenge has an expiration date, and I have a very pressing need for your services. He walked out, leaving me with more questions than answers and a card that felt heavy in my palm. Marcus appeared from the shadows. Do you know who that was? No. Should I? Adrian Wolfe. One of the most powerful venture capitalists on the East Coast. Also one of the most ruthless. Marcus's expression was grim. He's been in a legal battle with his former business partner for 3 years. Word is, it's personal. Very personal. He wants me to help him. Maya, people like Adrian Wolfe don't ask for help. They give orders and expect obedience. I looked at the card again, then at my brother. People underestimated me once. Look how that turned out. This is different. You went after a cheating fiancé and his accomplice. Wolfe moves in circles where betrayal ends in more than public humiliation. Then he should have no problem paying my fee. I smiled, surprising myself. Besides, who says I'm done evening the score? Marcus grabbed my arm. What do you mean? Nathan and Vanessa thought tonight was the end. They're wrong. Tonight was just the beginning. I pulled out my phone, scrolling to the file Marcus had prepared. Did you know Vanessa's father owns 3 restaurants in Bellevue? Family businesses, his pride and joy? Maya. And Nathan's mother, Patricia, is on the board of Seattle's most prestigious charity organization? The one that hosted that gala last month? What are you planning? I met my brother's eyes, seeing my own reflection in them, a woman I didn't quite recognize but was learning to embrace. Phase 2. The ultimate payback. The morning after. I woke up in my apartment, Nathan's things already removed by Marcus's crew overnight, to 847 unread messages. Social media had exploded. The rehearsal dinner video was trending on Twitter. Someone had live-streamed portions of it, and now the entire internet was dissecting Nathan's and Vanessa's betrayal. But the messages that mattered came from 3 sources. Richard Cross, 9 a.m. Monday. Don't be late. Adrian Wolfe, impressive work last night. My offer stands. We should talk soon. And one from an unknown number, you made a powerful enemy. Watch your back. I smiled at the last one. Let them come. The phone call. At 8 a.m., I called Marcus. Status report on phase 2? Are you sure you want to do this? Last night was enough. Status report, I repeated. He sighed. Vanessa's father, Robert Clark, had his health permits flagged for inspection yesterday. Nothing illegal, just routine checks that will shut down all 3 restaurants for 2 weeks minimum. Cost him about $40,000 in lost revenue. And Patricia Cross? The charity board received an anonymous dossier this morning detailing her son's embezzlement and affair. They're holding an emergency meeting today to discuss her continued involvement. She'll likely be asked to step down. Perfect. What about the other women? Marcus's tone changed. Maya, contacting Nathan's other affairs might backfire. Some of them might not know he was engaged. They could see you as what? The wronged woman? The vindictive ex? I poured coffee, my hand steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. I don't care how they see me, Marcus. I care that they see him for what he is. Silence on the line. Then, I drafted messages to each of them. If you're sure, send them. The messages. By 9 a.m., I was sitting in Richard Cross's office, a corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Elliott Bay. The man himself sat behind a mahogany desk that probably cost more than my car. You came, he said, though he didn't sound surprised. You said 9 a.m. I'm punctual. He almost smiled. My son could have learned from you. Your son was too busy learning from Vanessa. Richard winced at that. Patricia called me this morning. She's lost her position on the charity board. I know. You did that. It wasn't a question, but I answered anyway. She spent 2 years treating me like I wasn't good enough for her precious son. Turns out, no one is good enough for her precious son because her precious son is a thief and a liar. Fair enough. Richard leaned back in his chair. You're not here seeking my approval, and you're not here for my forgiveness. So why did you come? You said we have common interests. I want to know what you meant. He pulled out a folder, thick, professionally bound, clearly prepared in advance. Nathan's embezzlement isn't his only crime. Over the past 3 years, he's been using his position at my firm to skim clients. Small amounts, hard to track, but I've been suspicious for months. So investigate him. I am. But a formal investigation will damage the firm's reputation significantly. Richard opened the folder, showing me financial statements. However, if someone were to provide evidence of his crimes to the appropriate authorities before the firm's internal audit discovers them, it changes the narrative. From Cross-End Associates harbors criminals to Cross-End Associates cooperates with authorities to root out corruption. Exactly. He looked at me with something like respect. You're quick. I'm motivated. What do you need from me? The evidence you gathered on Nathan, I assume it's comprehensive? More comprehensive than what I showed last night. I need it all. Every transaction, every communication, every piece of leverage you have. In exchange, I'll ensure Nathan faces maximum legal consequences and that his actions don't splash back on you. Why would they splash back on me? Richard's expression darkened. Because Nathan is vindictive, scared, and stupid. A dangerous combination. He's already hired a lawyer, not through me, who's building a case that you somehow drove him to this. That your obsessive behavior and controlling nature forced him into Vanessa's arms. My coffee cup stopped halfway to my lips. He's going to claim I'm the villain? He already is. Twitter is 50-50 split between supporting you and calling you a psychopath. Several prominent influencers are questioning your motives. One particularly viral thread suggests you orchestrated the entire situation for attention and to boost your photography business. The counter-narrative. I set down my cup carefully, fighting the rage building in my chest. He's trying to make himself the victim. He's desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. Richard pushed the folder toward me. Which is why I need you to trust me. Give me everything, let me handle the legal aspects, and I'll ensure the narrative stays focused on his crimes, not your response to them. And what do you get out of this besides protecting your firm? For the first time, real emotion crossed Richard's face. A chance to prove that some things matter more than business. Patricia is my wife, but you're right, she treated you poorly. Nathan is my son, but what he did was unconscionable. I've spent 30 years building a legacy based on integrity. I won't let his actions destroy that. I studied him, reading the sincerity in his expression. You want redemption. I want accountability. There's a difference. I pulled out my phone, opened an encrypted folder, and placed it on his desk. Everything you need is there. Financial records, communications, timeline of events, witness statements. Enough to put him away for 5 to 7 years, minimum. Richard looked at the phone like I'd just handed him a winning lottery ticket. You've been thorough. I told you. I'm motivated. There's something else you should know. He pulled out another document. Nathan took out a life insurance policy on you 6 months ago. $2 million. Patricia is listed as beneficiary. The room went cold. He was planning to kill me, I said quietly. We don't know that for certain. Yes, we do. I stood, my legs shaky. A life insurance policy on someone you're planning to marry, with your mother as beneficiary instead of yourself? That's not estate planning. That's premeditation. Richard's silence confirmed it. Does Patricia know? I asked. I don't believe so. But I've frozen the policy and reported it to authorities. Richard stood as well. Maya, you need to understand how serious this is. Nathan wasn't just betraying you. He was planning something much darker. The ultimate revelation. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, get out of there. Now. Nathan's on his way to the building with 3 people I don't recognize. This isn't right. I showed Richard the message. His face went pale. My security team, he said, already moving toward his desk phone. Before he could dial, the office door burst open. Nathan stood there, wild-eyed and desperate, flanked by 2 men in cheap suits who definitely weren't lawyers. You think you've won? Nathan's voice cracked with barely controlled hysteria. You think you can destroy everything I built and walk away? Sir, you need to leave, Richard said firmly. Security is on their way. Security works for me too, Dad. Or did you forget I still have friends in this building? Nathan took a step inside, and I saw it, the glint of metal in his jacket. A gun. Everything slowed down. Nathan, whatever you're planning, Richard moved between us. Planning? I don't have to plan anymore. She's already taken everything. Nathan's hand moved toward his jacket. My career, my reputation, my money, Vanessa, everything. Vanessa left you, I said, keeping my voice steady despite my racing heart. She disappeared last night after the rehearsal. Didn't even bother saying goodbye. That stopped him. What? Marcus tracked her to SeaTac Airport. She took a flight to Miami at midnight, using a passport under a different name. Apparently, she had an exit strategy prepared. I pulled out my phone, showing him the airport security footage Marcus had obtained. She played you, Nathan. Just like you played me. The devastation on his face would have been satisfying if we weren't seconds away from violence. You're lying, he whispered. I'm not. Check your phone. I bet she hasn't answered any messages since last night. Nathan fumbled for his phone with his free hand, his face crumbling as he scrolled through unanswered texts and calls. She promised, she said we'd leave together. She said whatever you wanted to hear. Just like you did to me. I took a careful step toward him. Nathan, put down the gun. This doesn't end well for you if you don't. It doesn't end well for me anyway. His voice broke. I've lost everything. My job, my family, my freedom, it's all gone because of you. No. It's gone because of you. I held his gaze. Every choice you made led here. The lies, the cheating, the embezzlement, those were your decisions. I just made sure people knew the truth. The truth? He laughed bitterly. You destroyed me with your truth. You destroyed yourself. I was just the witness. The office door opened again, and Adrian Wolfe stepped inside, his presence commanding immediate attention. Behind him, Marcus and 2 security guards appeared. Gentlemen, Adrian said calmly, looking at Nathan's companions, I believe you have somewhere else to be. Unless you'd like to be arrested as accessories to assault with a deadly weapon? The 2 men looked at each other, then at Nathan, and backed toward the door. Nathan's support system crumbled in seconds. Nathan Cross. Adrian walked forward with zero fear, despite the gun. I'm Adrian Wolfe. You don't know me, but I know you. And I know men like you. Men who believe they're entitled to everything and accountable for nothing. Stay back, Nathan warned, but his hand was shaking now. You had a woman who loved you. A career. A future. You threw it away for momentary pleasure and easy money. Adrian's voice carried absolute certainty. Now you want to blame her for your failures? Pathetic. Something in Adrian's tone, the complete lack of fear, the utter contempt, broke through Nathan's desperation. His hand lowered slightly. You still have one choice left, Adrian continued. Walk out of here, turn yourself in, face the consequences with whatever dignity you have left. Or destroy what little remains of your soul by hurting an innocent woman out of spite. The room held its breath. Finally, Nathan's hand dropped completely. The gun clattered to the floor. He collapsed into a chair, his face in his hands, sobbing. Security moved in, securing the weapon and escorting Nathan from the building. Richard stood frozen, watching his son being led away in handcuffs. The offer. Once the office cleared, Adrian turned to me. Are you all right? I've been better. My hands were shaking now, the adrenaline crash hitting hard. Thank you. If you hadn't arrived, I had Marcus keep me updated on your location. When he reported Nathan's arrival, I came immediately. Adrian's expression softened slightly. Consider it a preview of what working with me would entail. Dangerous situations and dramatic confrontations? Protection, resources, and results. He picked up the folder Richard had prepared. Speaking of which, my offer still stands. $20 million to help me resolve my own betrayal situation. Interested? I looked at Richard, who was still staring at the door where his son had exited. I need to know something first. Why did Nathan target me specifically? With Vanessa, the life insurance, all of it? Richard took a breath. Because you were perfect. Stable, successful, loved him genuinely. You made him look good to the firm, to society, to me. But that perfection meant you'd never look the other way if you discovered his crimes. So he planned to eliminate the risk. By killing me. By making it look like an accident. I found preliminary research on your driving routes, your schedule, your habits. He was building a plan. The weight of it crashed over me. I hadn't just escaped betrayal. I'd escaped murder. So yes, I said to Adrian. I'm interested in your offer. But I have conditions. Name them. 1. Complete transparency. I need to know exactly who I'm targeting and why. 2. I won't do anything illegal. Revealing truth is one thing, breaking the law is another. 3. Marcus comes with me as security and backup. Non-negotiable. Adrian smiled, a real smile this time, with genuine warmth. Agreed. My private jet leaves for New York tomorrow at noon. Be ready. He handed me a contract, already prepared, with my conditions listed verbatim. Either he'd anticipated my answer, or he was always 3 steps ahead. Probably both. 6 months later. The New York gallery opening was packed. My photographs lined the walls, not wedding photos, but stark, powerful images of resilience and transformation. The gallery owner had titled the exhibition after the fire. Nathan was serving 5 years for embezzlement and attempted assault. Vanessa was caught 3 months later in Los Angeles, running the same scheme on a different couple. She faced charges in 3 states. Patricia had sold the family home and moved to Florida. Richard and I spoke occasionally. He was rebuilding his firm's reputation and working to ensure no other Nathan slipped through the cracks. And me? I was standing in a Manhattan gallery, wearing a designer dress paid for by Adrian Wolfe, having just completed my first assignment for him, exposing a corrupt business partner who'd stolen millions. The truth had destroyed the man's empire, and Adrian's company thrived. You look pleased with yourself, Marcus said, appearing at my elbow with champagne. I am. This is mine. Not built on lies or someone else's approval. Just mine. Maya Torres, the woman who burned down her life and built an empire from the ashes. Sounds dramatic when you say it like that. It was dramatic. You live-streamed a confrontation with your cheating fiancé to half the internet. I laughed, surprised by how light it felt. Worth it, though. Adrian appeared through the crowd, his presence parting people like Moses and the Red Sea. Excellent work tonight. The gallery owner is very impressed. So impressed she wants to offer you a permanent position. And your next assignment? Can wait until Monday. Tonight, celebrate. He handed me a glass of champagne. You've earned it. As the night wore on, I found myself on the gallery's balcony, looking out over Manhattan. The city stretched endlessly before me, full of possibilities and new beginnings. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. Saw your exhibition. You were always talented, I just never appreciated it. I'm sorry. Nathan. Probably smuggled phone access from prison. I deleted the message without responding. Some people deserved closure. Others deserved to wonder. Ready to head out? Marcus asked, joining me on the balcony. Yeah. Tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow's always a new day. That's what you taught me. You can burn down everything toxic in your life and rebuild something better from scratch. We headed back inside, and I took one last look at the exhibition. At photos showing strength through vulnerability, power through pain, beauty through destruction. The old Maya, the one who trusted blindly and loved fully, was gone. Burned away in the fires of betrayal. But the new Maya? She was just getting started. The end.